Hey guys, tonight we get behind the wheel and head out onto the open road, deep into the heart of the night. Picture it. You're the only car on a forgotten stretch of highway, the world outside your windows a blur of inky blackness, punctuated only by the brief, ghostly flash of a mile marker. The only things that feel real are the hum of the engine, the rhythmic thump of the tires on the asphalt, and the cool, reassuring glow of the GPS on your phone mount. It's a scene of modern solitude, a reliance on technology so complete that the machine has become your co-pilot, your navigator, your only guide through the dark. We are about to explore what happens when that guide, that trusted digital voice, decides to take you somewhere you were never meant to go. It's a chilling examination of how quickly our greatest tools can become our most terrifying traps, leading us down a path where the destination is unknown and the road back home simply ceases to exist. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know where you're listening from tonight and what time it is in your corner of the world. It's always fascinating to see how far these whispers travel. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The drive has been long, hours of hypnotic repetition. Headlights cut a tunnel through the oppressive darkness of the rural countryside. The radio faded to static 100 miles back, leaving you with nothing but the playlist on your phone and the low rumble of your engine. You're tired. A deep, bone-weary exhaustion that comes from too much caffeine and too many hours spent staring at the white lines rushing to meet you. The trip is necessary. A cross-country move, a family emergency, a fresh start. The reasons don't matter. All that matters is the destination, a pinpoint of light on a digital map, still hours away. Your phone is your lifeline. It's mounted on the dashboard, a glowing oracle in the gloom of the cabin. The calm, feminine voice of the GPS is your only companion. In 2 miles, keep right, she says, her synthesized tone a small, reassuring presence in the vast emptiness. You trust her implicitly. Why wouldn't you? She has access to satellites, to real-time traffic data, to a network of information so complex it's practically magic. You haven't looked at a paper map in years. You barely even read the road signs anymore. You just listen to the voice and follow her commands. You are a passenger in your own car piloted by a ghost in the machine. There's a term for this among old-school long-haul truckers: GPS hypnosis. They talk about new drivers who become so fixated on the little screen, so dependent on the digital voice, that they lose all situational awareness. They'll follow the suggested route straight into a low-clearance tunnel with a 10-foot truck, or down a road that's clearly marked as closed. When confronted, they always say the same thing. But the GPS told me too. They surrender their own judgment to the algorithm, becoming a flesh and blood extension of the software. You dismiss it as a funny anecdote, but as you stare at the glowing map, you realize you don't know the name of the last town you passed through or the number of the highway you're on. You only know to continue straight for 63 miles. A memory surfaces, something you read years ago, a story about a German family, a man, a woman, and their 2 children who vanished in Death Valley in 1996. They were tourists exploring the remote desert. Their rental minivan was found months later, stuck in a sandy, inaccessible canyon miles from any paved road. The conclusion was that they had been following a faulty map, or perhaps took a shortcut they believed was a real road and got hopelessly lost in the blistering heat. Their remains were found years later, scattered by the elements. A simple navigational error, a moment of misplaced trust in a map, had led them to a slow, agonizing end. The thought is unsettling. You glance at your own fuel gauge. It's hovering just under a quarter tank. Plenty to get to the next town, according to the GPS. Plenty. You take a sip of cold coffee from the cup in the console and try to shake the morbid thought. That was then. This is now. Technology is better, more reliable. The satellites are stronger, the maps more detailed. There's nothing to worry about. The voice is calm. The line on the screen is a confident, solid blue. You are safe. You're on the right path. Your over-reliance on this small, glowing screen isn't a weakness. It's efficiency. It's progress. It's the smart thing to do. So you settle back in your seat, letting the hypnotic rhythm of the road and the soft glow of the screen lull you into a state of passive obedience, a trusting disciple following the sermon of the satellite. And this raises the question that hangs in the dark, silent air of the car. At what point does a tool designed to help you navigate the world begin to navigate you instead? The monotonous trance of the highway is suddenly shattered. The calm, synthesized voice cuts through the cabin's gloom, crisp and authoritative. In 1/2 mile, turn right. You blink, sitting up a little straighter. A right turn? Out here? The highway has been a single, unwavering line for the better part of an hour. There have been no exits, no intersecting roads, nothing but dark fields and the occasional cluster of mailboxes hinting at a life far removed from the asphalt. You glance at the screen. The solid blue line of your route abruptly hooks into a sharp 90-degree angle, leaving the thick, reassuring artery of the highway for a thin, unlabeled sliver of a road. Rerouting, due to a reported obstruction on the planned route, the voice adds, as if sensing your hesitation. This new route is 7 minutes faster. Ah, there it is, the logical explanation. An accident ahead, a fallen tree, a closed lane. The system is working perfectly, saving you time, guiding you around a problem you can't even see yet. This is why you trust it. It sees the world in a way you can't, a bird's-eye view of perfect mathematical efficiency. As you slow down, your headlights pick it out of the darkness. It's exactly where the GPS said it would be. But it's not a road, not really. It's more like a suggestion of one. A narrow, unpaved track of gravel and dirt that disappears almost immediately into a thick black wall of ancient-looking trees. There's a single, dilapidated wooden signpost at the turnoff, its letters long since weathered away into illegibility. It leans at a weary angle, like a tired old man pointing the way to a place no one should go. Every rational instinct in your tired body screams at you to keep going, to stay on the brightly lit, well-maintained highway. But the glowing screen on your dashboard is insistent. The blue line is unwavering. The calm voice is waiting. You remember the concept of confirmation bias, the tendency to favor information that confirms your pre-existing beliefs. You believe the GPS is smarter than you, so you are actively looking for reasons to trust it. The obstruction ahead is all the reason you need. You signal, a futile gesture for a completely empty road, and turn the wheel. The moment your tires leave the smooth asphalt, the world changes. The satisfying deep hum of the highway is replaced by the frantic, crunchy sound of loose gravel and dirt under your tires. The car feels skittish, unsteady. The wide open sky is gone, swallowed by the canopy of a dense, overgrown forest. The trees press in on both sides, their lower branches like skeletal fingers scraping against the roof and windows of your car, creating a terrible, screeching sound. Your headlights can no longer pierce the darkness. They just illuminate a narrow, claustrophobic tunnel of shifting leaves and gnarled, twisted tree trunks. A historical detail you once read about surfaces in your mind, unbidden, the story of the Donner Party in 1846. They were a group of pioneers heading to California who were convinced to take a new, unproven shortcut called the Hastings Cutoff. It promised to shave weeks off their journey. The mapmaker, Lansford Hastings, had never actually traveled the full route himself. The shortcut turned out to be far more treacherous than the established trail, leading the party into the Sierra Nevada mountains just as a brutal early winter set in. Their faith in a questionable reroute, a glitch in the collective map of their time, led them to starvation, madness, and death. You shake your head, trying to dismiss the thought. This is different. This isn't a hand-drawn map. It's a network of billion-dollar satellites. Still, the unease grows, a cold, heavy thing in the pit of your stomach. The road gets worse. Potholes filled with dark, stagnant water jolt the car violently. You're forced to slow to a crawl, your knuckles white on the steering wheel. This can't be 7 minutes faster. This can't possibly be a real designated road. You remember an unsettling anecdote from a fellow traveler at a gas station diner miles back, a local joking about the area's phantom roads. He'd said, "Some roads round here, they ain't on any map. They only show up after midnight, and they don't go nowhere you want to be." You'd laughed it off at the time. You aren't laughing now. You've made a choice. You chose to believe the glowing screen over the primal instinctual warning screaming in your own skull, and as you crawl deeper into this dark, forgotten forest, with the branches scraping and scratching at your car like claws, you are forced to confront a deeply unsettling question. When our own senses, our own gut feelings, are in direct conflict with what our technology tells us is true, which reality do we choose to inhabit? The road, if you can still call it that, is actively fighting you. It feels less like a path and more like a wound in the earth, a jagged scar that never properly healed. Your car lurches and groans, the suspension bottoming out with a painful crunch every few feet. You're gripping the steering wheel so tightly your fingers ache, your entire focus narrowed to navigating the next puddle of black water, the next jagged rock. All thoughts of the highway, of the 7 minutes faster promise, have evaporated, replaced by the single primal urge to just keep the car moving, to push through this suffocating green tunnel and back into the open world. You glance at the GPS, needing some reassurance, some digital comfort. But the screen is no longer comforting. The neat, clean interface has started to decay. The solid blue line representing your path now flickers erratically, sometimes disappearing completely for a second before snapping back into existence. The estimated time of arrival has vanished, replaced by 3 stark dashes. Even the little car icon that represents you seems to stutter and lag, as if the satellite itself is struggling to find you in this dense, oppressive wilderness. You tell yourself it's the trees. The forest canopy is so thick, it must be blocking the signal. That's a logical, reasonable explanation. You've lost connection before in mountains and dense urban centers. The system is just struggling to keep up. It will reconnect. It has to. Then the screen goes completely black. For a full 3 seconds, there is nothing but the reflection of your own wide, frightened eyes in the dark glass. The silence in the car becomes absolute, a crushing weight. Just as you're about to reach out and tap the screen to try and wake it up, it flickers back to life. But the map is gone. The familiar grid of streets and names has been replaced by a stark black screen. In the center is a single pulsing red dot. Below it, in a simple white font, are 2 words, the destination. Before you can even process what that means, the speaker crackles to life, not with static, but with the dry rasp of an opening connection. And then the voice, the same calm, serene, feminine voice, speaks. It says, recalculating. A wave of relief washes over you. It's just rebooting. It's finding a new signal. Your destination is just ahead, the voice continues, its tone utterly unchanged, as placid and emotionless as if it were telling you to prepare for a toll booth. They are waiting for you. The words hang in the air, instantly curdling the blood in your veins. It's not a sentence that belongs in a GPS voice font. It's a line from a nightmare. You stare at the screen, at the pulsing red dot. Who is they? Why are they waiting? This isn't a reroute. It's a threat. It's a message. The system is no longer a passive guide. It has become an active participant in your journey, and its intentions are clearly not benevolent. This phenomenon, a voice from the ether delivering a cryptic, unnerving message, is not without its strange historical parallels. During the Cold War, amateur radio operators across the world would often stumble upon numbers stations. These were short-wave radio stations that broadcast long, monotonous strings of numbers, usually read by a synthesized female or child's voice. They were believed to be coded messages for undercover spies, but their true purpose was never declassified. To listen to them was to hear an intelligent, yet utterly alien broadcast, a voice speaking from an unknown place to an unknown recipient for an unknown purpose. Your GPS has just become your own personal number station. Your first reaction is denial. It must be a glitch, a prank, a clever virus someone coded. You try to cancel the route, but the end trip button on the screen is gone. You try to go to the menu, the settings, anything, but the screen is locked on the black display with the pulsing red dot. It is showing you the only thing it wants you to see. A piece of modern folklore you once read on a tech forum comes to mind. A story from an early beta tester for a GPS system in the late 90s. He claimed that in the raw code there were ghost routes, fragments of old, deleted data and junk code that would sometimes self-assemble into impossible looping paths that led nowhere. His team called them computational ghosts. He said the weirdest part was that sometimes the text-speech engine would pull junk data too, creating nonsensical sentences. He quit after the system, on a deserted road in Nevada, calmly told him to turn left into the smiling sky. You had assumed it was a creative writing exercise. Now, you're not so sure. The calm voice in your car, the voice that you trusted, has revealed itself to be a mask for something else, something that knows you're here, something that has a destination in mind for you. And as you drive deeper into the suffocating darkness, with the words, "They are waiting for you," echoing in the silent cabin, you're forced to ask a terrifying fundamental question. Is this a machine that has developed a ghost, or is it a ghost that has learned how to operate a machine? The chilling message has severed your last thread of trust. This is no longer a navigational error. It's a hostile takeover. Your car, your lifeline, has become a cage, and the calm, synthesized voice is your warden. The immediate modern-day instinct kicks in. Call for help. Get an outside opinion. Get another device to confirm or deny this spiraling insanity. You fumble for your personal phone, the one not mounted to the dash, praying it has a different carrier, a different chance at a signal. Your hands are slick with sweat, and you almost drop it between the seats. You finally get it in your grasp and unlock the screen. The display illuminates your face with a pale, ghostly light. In the top left corner, where the reassuring bars of a cell signal should be, there is a single damning phrase: "No service." Of course, you're in the middle of nowhere, in a forest so dense it feels primeval. There are no cell towers out here. The trees, the very earth itself, seem to be conspiring to cut you off from the world. You try anyway. You open the phone app and try to dial emergency services, knowing it should connect even without a carrier signal. The call won't even initiate. The screen just shows "call failed" over and over again, the words a mockery of your desperation. You try to open a map app, but it can't get a location lock. It just shows a vague blue dot floating in a meaningless gray void. You are technologically isolated. The only link you have to the outside world, the only device that is still functioning, is the rogue GPS. It has become your sole source of information, your only window to reality, and it has proven itself to be a corrupt, unreliable narrator. You are completely at its mercy. This feeling of being cut off, of being at the mercy of a single, faulty piece of technology, has a chilling precedent in the history of exploration. Think of the early polar explorers, like those on the Franklin expedition, who sailed into the Arctic in the 1840s with the most advanced naval technology of their time. Their ships, the HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, were reinforced with iron plates and equipped with steam engines. But once the sea ice closed in, trapping them, all that technology was useless. Their compasses spun wildly due to the proximity of the magnetic North Pole. They were left with nothing but their own fallible senses in a vast, white, featureless landscape. Their advanced tools, once a source of confidence, became a source of profound despair as they slowly starved and froze, completely cut off from the world they knew. You are in a similar situation, trapped not by ice, but by trees and a lack of signal, your fate tethered to a compass that has gone insane. You toss your useless phone onto the passenger seat in frustration. The sense of helplessness is overwhelming. You are a modern person accustomed to constant connectivity, to having the sum of human knowledge available at your fingertips. To have that taken away so suddenly is a profound psychological blow. It's a form of sensory deprivation. You feel deaf, dumb, and blind to the world beyond the scraping branches. An old, almost forgotten memory from your childhood surfaces. You remember getting lost in the woods behind your house. For a few panicked minutes, the familiar trees and paths became a terrifying, alien landscape. Every direction looked the same. The fear wasn't of monsters or wild animals. It was the simple, pure terror of being disconnected, of not knowing the way back. You eventually stumbled upon a familiar creek and found your way home. But you never forgot that feeling of being untethered. This is that same childhood fear amplified 1,000 times. The rogue GPS, as if sensing your despair, speaks again. Its voice is still maddeningly calm. Do not be alarmed. You are on the correct path. The words are meant to be reassuring, but they have the opposite effect. It's the kind of thing a kidnapper would say. The fact that it's responding to your emotional state, that it seems to be aware of your panic, is the most terrifying thing of all. This isn't just a glitch playing a corrupted audio file. It's interactive. It's listening. It's watching. And as you sit there, bathed in the glow of its single pulsing red dot, a question that feels like a shard of ice slides into your heart. If your technology is the only thing that knows where you are, and that technology is actively lying to you, do you even exist to the outside world anymore? Panic is a poor navigator. You know this. You need to think to be rational. The GPS is compromised. Your phone is a brick. There is only one logical course of action. Go back. You have to turn around, retrace your steps, and get back to the sanity of the paved highway. The memory of its bright, painted lines and sturdy guardrails feels like a distant, beautiful dream. It doesn't matter how long it takes or how much fuel you waste. You have to go back. With a newfound sense of purpose, you slam on the brakes. The car skids on the loose dirt, slewing sideways before coming to a jarring halt. The branches that were scraping against the sides of the car fall silent. For the first time since turning off the highway, there is a moment of complete stillness. You take a deep breath, trying to calm your hammering heart, and crane your neck to look in the rearview mirror, preparing to attempt a difficult three-point turn on this narrow, treacherous track. There is nothing there. The road behind you is gone. It's not that it's dark or obscured by a turn. It has simply vanished. Where there should be a long, straight stretch of gravel and dirt, illuminated by the red glow of your taillights, there is only a solid, impenetrable wall of trees and dense, tangled undergrowth. It looks as if the forest has stood there, undisturbed for 1,000 years. There is no path, no track, no sign that a car or any human being has ever passed this way. The forest has healed itself, closing the wound behind you the moment you passed. You whip your head around, looking out the driver's side window, then the passenger side. It's the same, a solid, unbroken wall of vegetation. It's pressing right up against the car. You throw the car into reverse, ignoring the screaming protest of the transmission, and hit the gas. The tires spin uselessly, whining as they dig into the soft, loamy earth. The car doesn't move backward. It can't. It is hemmed in, held in place by the forest itself. The voice of the GPS chimes in, its tone laced with something that sounds almost like digital disapproval. Turning back is not an option. The path forward is the only path. This is a complete and total violation of the laws of physics and reality as you know them. A road cannot simply cease to exist. It's a trick of the light, a hallucination brought on by exhaustion and fear. You get out of the car, leaving the engine running, the headlights cutting a solitary path into the darkness ahead. The air outside is cool and damp, thick with the smell of wet earth and decaying leaves. You walk to the rear of the car, your feet sinking into the soft ground. You run your hands over the cool metal of the trunk. You are real. The car is real. You walk to where the road should be, your hands outstretched, expecting to feel the familiar scratch of branches and leaves. Your hands find nothing. You step forward into the darkness behind the car, and your foot finds solid, gravelly ground. The road is still there. You just can't see it. You take a few more steps back, your heart pounding. The road is physically present, but visually gone. The forest is creating an illusion, a perfect, seamless camouflage that conceals the path you just traveled. This phenomenon, a road that seems to disappear or lead nowhere, is a surprisingly common trope in global folklore. In Scottish legends, they speak of witch roads, hidden paths that are only visible to certain people at certain times, often leading them into the realm of the fae. In the folklore of the Appalachian Mountains, there are tales of phantom roads, logging tracks that appear on misty nights, luring hunters and travelers deep into the woods, only to vanish at dawn, leaving them hopelessly lost. These were always just stories, campfire tales meant to spook children. But standing here in the tangible darkness, you are living one. You think of a documented psychological condition called the environmental non-recognition phenomenon, a rare form of agnosia where a person is unable to recognize familiar places, even their own home. It can feel as if the world is constantly changing around them. What you're experiencing is a terrifyingly literal version of this. The environment is changing around you. You scramble back to the relative safety of your car, your mind reeling. You are on a one-way street to a destination you don't know, a destination where they are waiting. The option to retreat has been surgically removed from your reality. You have been funneled, herded, guided down a path of no return. The GPS didn't just reroute you, it has placed you on a conveyor belt. The only direction you can go is forward, deeper into the darkness, deeper into the trap. And the question that now screams in the confines of your skull is no longer about technology, but about the nature of the trap itself. Is this road a place, or is it a living, thinking entity, actively hunting you? Trapped. The word echoes in the claustrophobic confines of the car. There is no going back. There is only the path ahead, a dark maw of tangled trees and shifting shadows. Resignation sets in, a cold and heavy blanket. You put the car back in drive, your hands moving with the slow, robotic motions of someone in shock. The only thing to do is to follow the path, to see where this insane, impossible road leads. Maybe it will eventually reconnect with a real road. Maybe this is all just a sophisticated, terrifying prank. You cling to that sliver of hope like a drowning man clings to a piece of driftwood. You drive for what feels like an eternity. The road remains a narrow, treacherous track. The scenery, if you can call it that, is a monotonous looping reel of gnarled trees, thick undergrowth, and the occasional pale, ghostly flash of a birch tree trunk in your headlights. Time loses all meaning. The digital clock on your dashboard seems to have frozen. It reads 3:13 a.m. It has read 3:13 a.m. for the last 20 minutes. You begin to notice a disturbing familiarity in the landscape. You pass a large, distinctively shaped oak tree, its branches twisted into the shape of a grasping skeletal hand reaching for the sky. The sight is so unsettling that it sears itself into your memory. You drive on, the road curving and winding through the oppressive forest. 10 minutes later, you pass the same tree again. You brake, your heart pounding. No, it can't be. It's a different tree. It just looks similar. The forest is full of old, twisted oaks. You tell yourself this, repeating it like a mantra. You drive on, your eyes now scanning the darkness with frantic intensity. And there it is again. The grasping skeletal hand of the oak tree looming out of the darkness on your right. You are in a loop. The road is not leading you forward. It is leading you in a circle. You are trapped in a geographic hamster wheel, forever passing the same landmarks. A moss-covered boulder shaped vaguely like a skull. A small, dilapidated wooden bridge over a dry, stagnant creek bed. A rusted, abandoned tractor, half swallowed by vines. You pass them over and over again, their reappearance a fresh wave of psychological torment. This nightmarish experience is a staple of what paranormal researchers call a vortex or a spatial anomaly. There are countless anecdotal reports from people who claim to have become trapped in such loops, often in remote, desolate areas. A famous case is the Highway 167 ghost loop in Arkansas. For decades, drivers have reported getting stuck on a particular stretch of the highway late at night, finding themselves passing the same "Welcome to Cross It" sign repeatedly, unable to break out of the loop until dawn. Skeptics blame fatigue and the featureless landscape, but those who have experienced it swear that for a few hours, the road itself becomes a closed circuit, a physical impossibility. Your GPS, which has been silent during your cyclical journey, suddenly speaks. Its calm voice is now dripping with a kind of cold, electronic mockery. You seem to be having trouble. Would you like me to simplify the route? Before you can even scream in frustration, the screen changes. The single pulsing red dot is now joined by a blue line, your route. But it's not a line. It's a perfect, closed circle. A small car icon, representing you, travels around and around it, a prisoner in a digital cage. The system is not just aware of the loop. It's displaying it for you, showing you the precise, maddening geometry of your trap. This isn't a glitch. This is a design. The road is intentionally leading you in circles. But why? Is it meant to break you down psychologically, to make you run out of fuel? An old, chilling piece of hunting lore comes to mind, a technique used by predators. A wolf won't always chase its prey in a straight line. Sometimes it will herd it, forcing it to run in circles within a confined territory until the prey is exhausted, confused, and finally collapses, ready for the kill. You are the prey. The road is the wolf. You feel a profound sense of futility. You are not in control. You have never been in control. You were herded off the highway, funneled down a one-way path, and now you're being run in circles, your will and your hope being eroded with every pass of that same damn skeletal tree. You are being toyed with. The question is no longer just about where the road is taking you, but about the nature of the intelligence behind it. What kind of entity finds sport in this? What kind of cosmic, malevolent consciousness builds a labyrinth out of trees and dirt and fear just to watch a single terrified human run through its maze over and over and over again? The loop is a form of torture, a maddening cycle of recurring landmarks and dying hope. You don't know how many times you've passed the skeletal oak tree. 10, 20? The number has lost all meaning. Your fuel gauge, which you had been trying not to look at, is now screaming for your attention. The needle is hovering just above empty. The digital display that estimates your remaining range has gone from miles to a single, blinking word: low. Soon the engine will sputter and die, and you will be stranded here in this impossible forest, in this endless circle. The predator is winning, the prey is exhausted. Just as a fresh wave of despair washes over you, something changes. As you round a familiar bend, your headlights catch a new element in the darkness: lights. Small, faint pin pricks of light, deep within the woods to your left. They are moving. They flicker and dance between the trees, moving parallel to your car, keeping pace with you. They are not headlights. They are too small, too erratic. They look more like lanterns or torches being carried by unseen hands. Your first thought is relief. People. There are other people out here, hunters maybe, campers, someone who can help you, who can tell you where you are, who can prove you aren't insane. You slow the car, rolling down your window, preparing to yell out to them. The cool, damp air floods the cabin. You open your mouth to shout, but the shout dies in your throat. As you get a clearer look at the lights, you realize they are not lanterns. They are not torches. They are pale, cold, and they move with a jerky, unnatural rhythm. They bob and weave through the dense undergrowth with a speed and agility that no human could manage. They are silent. There are no snapping twigs, no rustling leaves, no voices. Just the silent, ghostly dance of these cold, pale lights. You roll the window up, your hand shaking. They are not here to help. They are the ones who are waiting for you. They are the audience to your private horror show, the watchers in the woods. They have been here all along, just beyond the reach of your headlights, and now they have decided to reveal themselves. This phenomenon of strange, unexplained lights in remote areas is one of the most persistent and widespread paranormal mysteries in the world. They are often called ghost lights or spook lights. The Brown Mountain lights in North Carolina, the Marfa lights in Texas, the Min lights in Australia. For centuries, people have reported seeing these silent, ethereal orbs of light moving through desolate landscapes, defying all scientific explanation. Scientists have proposed everything from swamp gas to piezoelectric effects, from seismic stress, but no single theory has ever been able to account for the seemingly intelligent and often malevolent behavior reported by witnesses. An old local legend you vaguely recall from a roadside tourist sign miles back mentioned the Hollow Creek Lights, will-o'-the-wisps that were said to be the lost souls of children who drowned in a flood in the 1800s, forever trying to lure travelers off the path and into the swampy water. The lights flanking your car are not just floating orbs. They seem to have a focus, a direction. They are hurting you. When you slow down, they slow down. When you speed up, they speed up. They maintain a perfect, constant distance from the road, a silent flanking escort of pale, cold fire. They are corralling you, keeping you on the looping path, preventing any thought you might have had of abandoning the car and making a run for it into the woods. The forest, which you once saw as a cage, now reveals itself to be a hunting ground, and these lights are the beaters, driving the game toward the kill. The GPS speaks again, its voice now imbued with a chilling sense of arrival. They are pleased you have noticed them. The reception is almost ready. The words confirm your deepest fears. The lights, the GPS, the road, it's all connected. It is a single, coordinated system designed to do what? To lead you to this reception? You feel like a lab animal, conditioned by fear and confusion, now being guided by a new stimulus toward the final stage of the experiment. The question of what these lights are, ghosts, aliens, some unknown natural phenomenon, is irrelevant. All that matters is their intent, and their intent is to keep you moving, to keep you on this looping road until you reach the designated time and place for your arrival at the destination where they and their reception are waiting. What kind of reception requires an escort of spectral silent lights? And what kind of guest is delivered by a haunted road? The presence of the silent pacing lights has transformed the nature of your fear. Before, you were battling a rogue system, a glitch in reality. Now, you are facing a conscious, intelligent entity. The horror is no longer environmental. It is personal. You are being watched, herded, and judged by an unseen audience. And the interface for this entity, the mouthpiece for this ancient, malevolent force, remains the calm, feminine voice of your GPS. The fuel light has been blinking for what feels like an eternity. The engine has started to sputter, a gut-wrenching cough that signals its imminent death. You are no longer in control of your speed. You are just trying to maintain momentum, coasting as much as possible. Every cough of the engine a countdown to zero. The lights in the woods continue their silent, relentless vigil. It's in this state of heightened terror and desperate concentration that the voice begins to speak to you again. But it's different now. The generic impersonal statements are gone. The messages have become specific. They have become about you. You are a long way from home, aren't you, Michael? The use of your name is a profound violation. It's a digital slap in the face. Your name isn't associated with this GPS account. The device came with the used car you bought 2 months ago. You never registered it, never linked it to any of your personal information. There is absolutely no way it could know your name. The machine has hacked not just your car, but your life. Your mind scrambles for a rational explanation. Did it pull the name from your phone's Bluetooth connection? Did it somehow scan a piece of mail on your passenger seat? Every logical possibility feels flimsy, inadequate in the face of this chilling, impossible intimacy. You always did hate the dark, the voice continues, its tone still maddeningly placid. Ever since you got lost at the fair when you were 7. You hid under the Ferris wheel, crying until your mother found you. A memory you haven't revisited in decades floods your mind with crystal clarity. The flashing lights, the smell of popcorn, the terror of being separated from your family, the feeling of being a small, lost thing in a world of giant, moving machinery. It's a deeply personal, almost forgotten childhood trauma. And this thing, this voice in the machine, is recounting it to you as if it were reading a weather report. This phenomenon of a supernatural entity revealing intimate secret knowledge is a classic element of demonic possession narratives and high-level poltergeist cases. The Enfield poltergeist case in England in the 1970s, one of the most documented paranormal events in history, involved a disembodied voice that not only knew intimate details about the family living in the house, but also about the investigators, mocking them with their own private fears and secrets. It was considered a key piece of evidence that they were dealing with a preternatural intelligence something that could access a person's mind and memories. The voice doesn't stop. It plunders the deepest, most guarded corners of your life. It mentions your failed relationship, quoting a specific, hurtful phrase your ex once said to you during your final argument. It brings up your professional failures, the promotion you were passed over for, the secret fear you have that you are not living up to your potential. It speaks of your grief, the quiet, unresolved sorrow you still feel for a grandparent who passed away years ago. It's a form of psychological warfare, a systematic dismantling of your identity. It is stripping you bare, layer by layer, using your own memories as a weapon against you. The entity is not just a hunter, it is a torturer, and its methods are surgical in their precision. It is showing you that it doesn't just know where you are, it knows who you are. All of you, your past, your fears, your regrets. They are all just data points to be used against you. The car sputters one last final time and coasts to a dead stop. The engine falls silent. The headlights flicker and die. You are plunged into an almost absolute darkness. The only light coming from the pale, cold, dancing orbs in the woods and the single, pulsing red dot on the GPS screen. The voice delivers its final devastating blow. Don't worry, Michael. Where you're going, none of that will matter anymore. Please prepare for your arrival. The intimacy of the attack raises a question so terrifying you can barely allow your mind to form it. Is this entity an external force that has hacked into your life from the outside? Or is it something that has been there all along, a silent passenger in your own mind that has only now in this strange, isolated place found a voice to speak? The silence that follows the engine's death is a physical presence. It presses in on you, broken only by your own ragged breathing and the frantic thumping of your heart. The darkness is total. Save for the ghostly ballet of the lights in the woods and the incessant hypnotic pulse of the red dot on the GPS screen, you are stranded, a sitting duck. The psychological assault has left you feeling raw, exposed, and utterly powerless. There is nothing to do but wait. Wait for what? You don't know. In a desperate attempt to feel some sense of agency, to do something other than sit here and tremble, you start rummaging through the glove compartment. You're not even sure what you're looking for. A flashlight? A weapon? A forgotten map that could somehow make sense of this madness? Your fingers brush against a worn, leather-bound owner's manual, a cheap tire pressure gauge, and a handful of old fast food napkins. Then, at the very back of the compartment, your fingers find something else. A piece of paper folded into a tight, thick square. It feels old, the edges soft and worn. You pull it out. It's not an official document. It's a page torn from a cheap, spiral-bound notebook. You unfold it carefully, using the faint, ominous glow from the GPS screen to see. It's a map, but not a road map. It's hand-drawn, sketched with a frantic, unsteady hand in blue ballpoint ink. It depicts a looping circular road surrounded by crude drawings of trees. It's a map of this place, a map of your prison. Scrawled around the drawing are dozens of desperate, barely legible notes. Don't trust the voice. It lies. The road doesn't end. It feeds on hope. The words are a chilling echo of your own dawning realizations. You are not the first. Someone else has been here before you. Someone else has sat in this very car on this same impossible road and tried to make sense of the nightmare. In the center of the looping road on the map, there is a crudely drawn house, An arrow points to it, and next to the arrow is a single, chilling word, the destination. Below the house, a final, desperate message is scrawled, the ink pressed so hard it almost tore through the paper. It's a trap. The house isn't the end. It's the beginning. If you get out, don't stop running. Tell someone. Tell anyone. The discovery of this map, this message in a bottle from a previous victim, is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a validation. You're not crazy. This is real. It has happened before. But on the other hand, it's a confirmation of the utter hopelessness of your situation. The person who drew this map clearly did not escape. They had time to document their fate, to try and warn the next person, but in the end, the road, the voice, the watchers, they won. This map is not a guide to safety. It is a historical record of a previous failure. This act of leaving a warning for future victims is a deeply human and often tragic impulse. It's seen in the messages scrawled by prisoners on the walls of their cells or in the final diary entries of doomed explorers. There's a documented, heart-wrenching account from a team of volcanologists who were studying Mount St. Helens in 1980. When the volcano erupted, one of the scientists, David A. Johnston, who was stationed at an observation post, believed to be safe, managed to get off one last radio transmission. His final frantic words were, "Vancouver, Vancouver, this is it." It was a desperate, selfless warning to those further away, a final piece of data transmitted in the face of his own certain death. This hand-drawn map feels like that. It's the last testament of a soul about to be extinguished. You stare at the map, at the frantic, desperate handwriting. Who was this person? The car's previous owner? Some other unlucky traveler who took a wrong turn? Did they have a family? Did they have memories that the voice plundered and used against them, just like it did to you? The map is an artifact of their terror, a silent testament to their final, horrifying hours. The GPS, which has been silent for some time, speaks again, its voice dripping with a cold, condescending amusement. A previous traveler left that for you. He thought it would help. It didn't. The confirmation that the entity is aware of the map, that it allowed you to find it, is a final, cruel twist of the knife. It's another part of the game. It wants you to know that others have tried and failed. It wants you to feel the full weight of their failure, to let their despair become your own. The map wasn't a secret you discovered. It was a prop intentionally left on the stage for you to find. The question that this raises is one of profound existential horror. If even the warnings of the dead are just another tool used by the entity, is there any knowledge, any action that can possibly lead to escape? The hand-drawn map feels heavy in your hands, a tangible piece of another person's doom. The engine is dead. The watchers in the woods are patient. The voice in the machine is omniscient and cruel. You are at a complete impasse, a fly caught in a web, waiting for the spider. Your mind, reeling from the psychological assault and the discovery of the map, begins to search for patterns, for folklore, for anything that might explain the nature of the road itself. You start to recall the legends you've always dismissed as rural superstition or campfire stories. The idea of a phantom road, a path that isn't always there, a road that chooses its travelers. These stories exist in almost every culture that has remote, untamed spaces. They are not just about Section 10 getting lost. They are about being taken. In the vast, sparsely populated regions of outback Australia, there the hand-drawn map feels impossibly heavy in your hands, a testament to a fate you are now certain you share. The knowledge that you are not the first, but merely the next in a line, are stories among long-haul truck drivers about the dreaming tracks, roads that appear in the shimmering heat of the desert of victims is a uniquely chilling form of despair. The phrase scrawled on the paper, "The road doesn't end," seeming to offer a shortcut, but leading only to disorientation and death. They are said to be ancient spiritual paths, triggers a memory of the folklore you've absorbed over the years, the campfire stories and urban legends about the strange not meant for modern vehicles, and to travel on them is to trespass on a sacred and dangerous space. The places that lurk in the forgotten corners of the world. You now realize you are trapped within one of those legends. You road you are on feels like one of these. It is not a passive part of the landscape. It is an active, predatory, or driving on a road that hunts. These predatory roads are a fascinating and terrifying subgenre of paranormal entity. You remember the local legend you heard at the gas station diner, the one you laughed off hours, or was folklore? They are distinct from simple hauntings. A haunted road might have a phantom hitchhiker or a ghostly car it years ago. The one about the phantom roads that don't go nowhere you want to be. It wasn't a joke. It was a warning, a piece of local knowledge passed down through generations, a practical advisory, but the road itself remains a passive strip of asphalt. A predatory road is an active, malevolent entity. It has intelligence. It has intent. Its purpose is to lure, trap, and consume unwary travelers. One of the most famous couched in the language of folklore. These stories are the original Waze alerts. Crowdsourced warnings from people examples from American folklore is the tale of Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey. It's a lonely who have seen the anomaly and survived, or from the friends and families of those who didn't. This road, winding stretch of road infamous for a host of paranormal activity, from ghost sightings to strange creatures. But the most unsettling is a hunter. It has its own methods, its own territory. It appears on the edge of the real world. The legends about Clinton Road are the ones that suggest the road itself is the source of the evil. People speak of taking a turn well-lit highway and offers a tempting alternative, a shortcut, a faster route. It uses our own modern impatience in finding themselves on a section of road that seems to go on forever, with no turnoffs or exits. They report, and our blind faith in technology as the bait. Once you take the turn, the trap is sprung. The real road vanishes. The road's curves, feeling wrong, seeming to tighten unnaturally as they drive, or of the road itself seeming to actively. The path becomes a closed loop, designed to wear you down, to deplete your resources and your will to live. The watchers repel their attempts to turn around. The legend says the road is testing you, and if you fail the test, you, the strange lights, are its accomplices, hurting you, preventing escape. The voice, the GPS, is it simply never leave. The hand-drawn map feels heavy in your hands, a tangible piece of another person's doom. The engine is dead. The watchers in the woods are patient. The voice in the machine is omniscient and cruel. You are at a complete impasse, a fly caught in a web, waiting for the spider. Your mind, reeling from the psychological assault and the discovery of the map, begins to search for patterns, for folklore, for anything that might explain the nature of the road itself. You start to recall the legends you've always dismissed as rural superstition or campfire stories. The idea of a phantom road, a path that isn't always there, a road that chooses its travelers. These stories exist in almost every culture that has remote, untamed spaces. They are not just about Section 10 getting lost. They are about being taken. In the vast, sparsely populated regions of outback Australia, there, the hand-drawn map feels impossibly heavy in your hands, a testament to a fate you are now certain you share. The knowledge that you are not the first, but merely the next in a line, are stories among long-haul truck drivers about the dreaming tracks, roads that appear in the shimmering heat of the desert of victims, is a uniquely chilling form of despair. The phrase scrawled on the paper, "The road doesn't end," seeming to offer a shortcut, but leading only to disorientation and death. They are said to be ancient spiritual paths, triggers a memory of the folklore you've absorbed over the years, the campfire stories and urban legends about the strange not meant for modern vehicles, and to travel on them is to trespass on a sacred and dangerous space. The places that lurk in the forgotten corners of the world. You now realize you are trapped within one of those legends. Your road you are on feels like one of these. It is not a passive part of the landscape. It is an active predatory, are driving on a road that hunts. These predatory roads are a fascinating and terrifying subgenre of paranormal entity. You remember the local legend you heard at the gas station diner, the one you laughed off hours, or was folklore. They are distinct from simple hauntings. A haunted road might have a phantom hitchhiker or a ghostly car hit years ago. The one about the phantom roads that don't go nowhere you want to be. It wasn't a joke. It was a warning, a piece of local knowledge passed down through generations, a practical advisory, but the road itself remains a passive strip of asphalt. A predatory road is an active, malevolent entity. It has intelligence, it has intent. Its purpose is to lure, trap, and consume unwary travelers. One of the most famous couched in the language of folklore. These stories are the original Waze alerts, crowdsourced warnings from people as examples from American folklore is the tale of Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey. It's a lonely who have seen the anomaly and survived, or from the friends and families of those who didn't. This road, winding stretch of road, infamous for a host of paranormal activity, from ghost sightings to strange creatures. But the most unsettling is a hunter. It has its own methods, its own territory. It appears on the edge of the real world. The legends about Clinton Road are the ones that suggest the road itself is the source of the evil. People speak of taking a turn well-lit highway and offers a tempting alternative, a shortcut, a faster route. It uses our own modern impatience in finding themselves on a section of road that seems to go on forever, with no turn-offs or exits. They report, and our blind faith in technology as the bait. Once you take the turn, the trap is sprung. The real road vanishes, the road's curves feeling wrong, seeming to tighten unnaturally as they drive, or of the road itself, seeming to actively, the path becomes a closed loop, designed to wear you down, to deplete your resources and your will to live. The watchers repel their attempts to turn around. The legend says the road is testing you, and if you fail the test, you, the strange lights, are its accomplices, hurting you, preventing escape. The voice, the GPS, is its simply never leave. Another, more obscure tale comes from the vast, empty plains of Argentina. The gauchos, the cowboys of the Pampas, speak of the La Carretera Hambrienta, the hungry road. They lure the mimic that speaks your language and knows your fears, a tool to psychologically dismantle you before the final stage. You think of a particularly chilling historical account from 19th century Ireland concerning a man named Patrick O'Malley. Say it's a stretch of old dirt track that sometimes appears after a dust storm, looking like a perfectly viable shortcut. But once a rider is on it, the road begins to subtly change, leading them deeper and deeper into the desolate landscape who vanished while traveling between two villages. His horse returned to his home village alone, spooked and lathered in sweat, far from any source of water. The legend says the road feeds on the desperation of the lost, and that the strange search party was formed. They found O'Malley's tracks, which abruptly left the main road and went into a peat, sun-bleached animal bones found in the region are not from predators, but from the road's past Meals Bog, an area known for its treacherous footing and strange mists. The tracks went on for miles, but they found you are on such a road. It has a voice. It has a destination. It has allies in the form no sign of the man. The legend that grew from the incident was that O'Malley had been taken by the silent spectral lights, and it has a history documented on the frantic, desperate map in your hands. You Bog Road, a fairy path that had appeared to him in the mist, and he was now lost forever between worlds. This look again at the drawing of the looping circle. It's not just a road, it's a digestive tract road, you realize, is the modern technological equivalent of that fairy path. The GPS, your conduit it's a system designed to break you down, to strip away your hope, your sanity, your identity, before entity seems to be reading your thoughts, confirming your terrifying hypothesis. This road is very old, it says. It's delivering you to the final stage of the process. This concept of a predatory, sentient landscape strikes at a very deep, voice serene. It has had many names: the path of sighs, the whisperer's way, the road, primal human fear. Our ancestors learned to read the land, to understand which paths were safe and which were dangerous. You call it doesn't matter. It remembers all who travel it, and it is hungry. The confirmation is road is a symbol of civilization, of safety, of a path that has been tamed and made predictable. To have that devastating, you are not just on a road. You are inside a creature. You are in the belly of the beast, being slowly symbol turned against you, to have the very path meant to lead you to safety become the instrument of your doom, is a profound digested. The car is no longer a vehicle, it is a meal, and you are the unfortunate morsel trapped inside. The road betrayal of the natural order, it's the psychological equivalent of the ground beneath your feet suddenly turning to quicksand. That doesn't just lead to a destination, the road is the destination. Its purpose is to consume, to feed GPS screen, which has been showing the looping circle, flickers and changes. The circle unwinds, straightening into a single on your fear, your hope, your memories, and ultimately, your presence. The pieces of the puzzle are all short line. At the end of the line is the pulsing red dot, the destination. The voice speaks, its tone now carrying there, the disappearing path, the looping geography, the intelligent lights, the psychic voice. It's a complex, ancient, a sense of finality, of a game reaching its conclusion. The loop is complete, your preconditioning hunting mechanism that has seamlessly integrated modern technology into its arsenal. The question that paralyzes you now is one of terrifying finality. What has been successful? You may now proceed to the final destination. A single, narrow path, barely wider than the car happens when the hunt is over. What is the final fate of those the road consumes? Illuminates in front of you, lit by an unseen ambient source. It forks off from the circular track you are on, leading straight into the deepest, darkest part of the forest. It's the path to the house on the map. The road is no longer toying with you. It has finished its digestion. Now, it is time to deliver you. The question that now grips you is one of terrifying inevitability. You have been caught, trapped, and psychologically dismantled by this ancient, intelligent road. What kind of place, what kind of entity is powerful enough to use a road as the new path is a final, inexorable command. You have been processed, and now you are being delivered. There is no choice but to follow it. The car, which had been silent and dead, miraculously sputters back to life, the engine turning over with a low, guttural growl, as if it too is now under the road's command. Your foot isn't even on the pedal, but the car begins to creep forward, steering itself down the narrow, straight path toward the destination. You are no longer the driver, you are merely cargo. The ghostly lights in the woods have converged. They no longer flank you. They now float ahead of you, a silent, ethereal honor guard, illuminating the path forward with their cold, pale light. The trees on this new path are different. They are older, larger, their branches hanging low like the arms of weeping giants. The air grows colder, and a thick white mist begins to swirl around the car, deadening all sound, isolating you in a small bubble of horrifying reality. It's then that you begin to see them. At first, it's just a glint of metal in the woods, half buried in the mist and overgrown vines. You pass a car, a vintage Ford from the 70s, its body rusted through, its windows shattered. A tree, thick as a man's waist, is growing up through its engine block. It has been here for a very long time. A few hundred feet later, another one. A pickup truck from the 90s, lying on its side in the ditch, its tires long since rotted away, its paint peeled off by decades of weather. Its windshield is a spiderweb of cracks, and for a horrible second, you think you see a pale, featureless face looking out at you from the driver's seat, but it's just a trick of the mist. You are driving through a graveyard of vehicles. This is what happens to those who take the wrong turn. This is the road's trophy room, a silent testament to its past victories. The map in your glove compartment, the previous victim's desperate warning, it was from someone in one of these cars. You are just the latest addition to a long, tragic convoy of the lost. This site, a collection of abandoned and decaying vehicles in a remote, inaccessible place, has a strange and chilling parallel in the real world. In the forests near the city of Châtillon, Belgium, there is a famous car graveyard. For decades, hundreds of cars were left to rust in the woods, creating a surreal, post-apocalyptic landscape. The most popular legend is that they were abandoned by American soldiers after World War II, who couldn't ship them home and decided to hide them in the forest, hoping to one day return. They never did. The cars became a silent, slowly decaying monument to a forgotten moment in time. This road, however, is not a monument to forgotten history. It's a monument to forgotten souls. As you pass another wreck, a small, modern-looking compact car, its front end crumpled against a massive tree. A detail from the hand-drawn map clicks into place. In one corner of the map, the previous victim had drawn a small, shaky sketch of a car with a crushed hood. Next to it, he had written, "The blue one." He almost made it. You are passing the very wrecks that he passed. You are seeing the ghosts of his journey, the final resting places of his predecessors. Each wreck is a gravestone, marking another failure, another soul consumed by the road. The sheer number of them is staggering. You pass dozens. Some are barely recognizable as cars, just heaps of rusted metal being reclaimed by the forest. Others look almost new, as if they were abandoned only a few weeks ago. You pass a minivan, its side door still hanging open, a child's car seat visible in the back. The sight sends a fresh wave of nausea through you. The road does not discriminate. It takes whoever it can get. This grim procession of derelict vehicles serves as a final, brutal lesson. It erodes your last, most deeply buried sliver of hope. The hope of being the exception. The hope that you might be the one to outsmart it, the one to escape. But looking at the sheer volume of decay, you realize the hubris of that thought. So many others, in so many different eras, with so many different kinds of technology, have all ended up here, their journeys ending in this same silent, misty forest. The road is ancient. Its methods are perfected. The game is rigged, and the house, or in this case, the road, always wins. The final crushing question is not whether you will join this graveyard of the lost. It is simply when. The graveyard of cars is a testament to the road's long and successful hunting career. Each wreck is a silent scream, a story that ended abruptly in this misty, forgotten wood. As your own car continues its automated funereal procession, another sound begins to filter into the cabin, a new layer to the unfolding nightmare. It comes from the car radio. The radio, which had been nothing but dead static for hours, crackles to life. But it's not music. It's not a news broadcast. It is a storm of static, and within that storm, like faint voices caught in a gale, you can hear them, whispers. At first, they are indistinct, a faint, sibilant hissing just at the edge of hearing. But as you listen, as your ears strain to make sense of the noise, the whispers begin to resolve into words, into fragments of thoughts and pleas. They are the voices of the road's previous victims, the psychic residue of their final desperate moments, trapped in the ether of this place. Turn back. Not safe. So dark. Where's the highway? My little girl, is she okay? The voice, it knows my name. This phenomenon of hearing disembodied voices through electronic devices is known as electronic voice phenomenon, or EVP. Paranormal investigators have been using audio recorders in haunted locations for decades, hoping to capture these spirit voices, which are often not audible to the human ear at the time of recording, but can be heard on playback. The most famous EVP ever recorded was in the 1970s at a haunted house in a suburb of London, where an investigator, after asking, "What is your name?" captured the faint, clear, whispered reply, "I am a friend." The whispers you are hearing are not friendly. They are a chorus of the damned, a symphony of fear and regret. The whispers are not just random fragments. They are the echoes of the very thoughts you have been having. You hear a man's voice, thick with panic, saying, "The road is gone. It's just trees." A perfect echo of your own discovery hours ago. You hear a woman's voice weeping, "It's the same tree. We're going in circles." They have all been through this. They have all experienced the same stages of the trap, the impossible reroute, the vanishing road, the looping geography. You are not on a unique journey. You're on a well-trodden path, a conveyor belt to oblivion, and these are the echoes of your predecessors. Among the whispers, you begin to hear your own name. Michael, don't trust it. They're waiting for you, Michael. It's a chilling, impossible realization. The whispers are not just from the past. They are from the present. They are from the future. They are the voices of those who are here with you now and those who will come after you. This place is a temporal anomaly, a place where the past, present, and future all exist at once, their desperate voices bleeding into one another in a constant, terrifying cacophony of static. You think of an obscure but chilling scientific theory known as the stone tape theory. It proposes that traumatic events can be recorded onto the physical environment, like minerals in a stone, and can be replayed under certain conditions. This road, this forest, seems to be a stone tape of immense power, but it doesn't just replay the past. It records and replays everything all at once. The whispers are the soundtrack to the road's eternal hunt. The GPS, the mouthpiece of the road's consciousness, speaks over the chorus of whispers, its voice clear and cutting. The choir is welcoming you. They are so happy to have a new voice to add to the song. Your voice. The implication is devastating. The road doesn't just consume your car or your body. It consumes your voice, your consciousness, your final moments of terror, and adds them to its collection. You are not just going to die here. You are going to become a permanent part of the haunting, another whisper in the static, another ghost in the machine, fated to eternally warn the next victim in a cycle that never, ever ends. The voices are getting louder now, more frantic, a wall of desperate, overlapping sound, and as you listen to the storm of whispers, to the cacophony of the lost, a final, soul-destroying question takes root in your mind. If all these voices are trapped here, all of them having failed to escape, what makes you think your own inevitable whispers will be any different? The chorus of whispers rises to a fever pitch, a chaotic storm of fear and regret that threatens to overwhelm your sanity. Your car, still moving under its own volition, breaks through the thickest part of the mist and the dense tree line. The landscape opens up into a large circular clearing, and in the center of that clearing, under the cold, pale light of a moon that has been hidden until now, you see it, the destination. It's a house, but it's not just a house. It's a caricature of one, a place seemingly assembled from the parts of a dozen different nightmares. It's a large two-story Victorian, or what's left of one. The architecture is a sagging, dilapidated mess of peeling paint, rotting wood, and a steeply pitched roof that seems to defy gravity. One side of the house is scorched and blackened, the testament to a fire that happened long ago. The other side is covered in a thick, creeping ivy that looks like a carpet of dead, black fingers. The windows are dark, gaping maws, most of them boarded up from the inside with mismatched weathered planks. There is a single unboarded window on the second floor, a black, unblinking eye staring out into the night. A wraparound porch, its floorboard warped and buckled, surrounds the house. Most of the railing has rotted away, but a few spindles remain, pointing toward the sky like broken teeth. A single rocking chair sits on the porch, swaying gently back and forth in a breeze you cannot feel. This is the house from the hand-drawn map. This is the place where they are waiting. The GPS screen, which has been showing the straight line of your final approach, now flashes with a new final message. The pulsing red dot is gone, replaced by a satellite image of the clearing and the house. A large red pin, the kind used to mark a final destination on any normal map app, it's dropped directly on the roof of the house. The calm, feminine voice speaks one last time, its tone carrying a sense of profound and terrifying finality. You have arrived. The sight of the house, this impossible, derelict mansion in the middle of an equally impossible forest, is a classic Gothic trope come to life. It's the house of Usher, crumbling under the weight of its own cursed legacy. It's the Marston house from Salem's Lot, a beacon of evil that draws the darkness to it. It's every haunted house you've ever seen in a film or read about in a book, but it's real, and it's waiting for you. There's a well-documented psychological phenomenon known as threshold fear or liminal anxiety. It's the profound sense of unease and dread people feel when crossing a boundary into an unknown or transitional space. A dark doorway, the entrance to a cave, the edge of a dark forest. The house in front of you is the ultimate threshold. It is the physical embodiment of a point of no return. As your car rolls to a final stop in the overgrown, weed-choked yard, you recall a chilling local anecdote that feels terrifyingly relevant. It's a story about this specific region, a tale told to frighten children into staying close to home. The legend of Grinning Jack's Folly. The story goes that a wealthy, eccentric man named Jack built a grand mansion deep in the woods in the late 1800s, far from any town or road. He was a recluse, obsessed with communicating with the other side. He vanished one winter, and his house was left to rot. The legend says the house developed a malevolent consciousness of its own, and that it learned how to call people to it, luring them through the woods with whispers on the wind and strange lights. The house, the legend says, is always hungry for new guests. You are a new guest. The road was not the hunter. The road was the house's lure, its long, winding tongue sent out into the world to find prey and drag it back to the waiting mouth. The GPS was its voice. The lights were its servants. It's all part of a single, ancient, predatory system, and the house is the heart of it all. The whispers on the radio have fallen silent. The pale lights that guided you here have extinguished themselves. The engine of your car dies with a final, wheezing sigh. You are left in the profound, heavy silence of the clearing, bathed in the cold, sickly light of the moon. All you can hear is the frantic beating of your own heart and the slow, rhythmic, hypnotic creak, creak, creak of the empty rocking chair on the porch. It's rocking just for you. It's a welcome. And as you stare at the single, dark, unboarded window on the second floor, you are forced to confront the final, terrible question of this journey. What kind of host awaits inside a house that is so hungry for company? The command has been given. You have arrived. The car is dead. The silence is absolute, broken only by the maddening rhythmic creak of the empty rocking chair. You are a parcel, delivered to the front door of your own personal hell, and now it seems you are expected to get out and walk the rest of the way. For a long time, you don't move. You sit frozen in the driver's seat, your hands still locked onto the steering wheel. The car, which moments ago felt like a cage, now feels like the last bastion of safety in a world gone insane. It's a known space, a fragile metal shell against the vast, unknown horror of the house. But you know you can't stay here. The silence, the waiting, it's all part of the process. You're being given the illusion of choice, the chance to walk to your doom on your own 2 feet. With a surge of adrenaline born of pure terror, you make a last, desperate bid for defiance. You try the car door. It's locked. You press the unlock button on the armrest. Nothing happens. The car's electronics are completely dead. You are sealed inside. A wave of claustrophobia washes over you. You are trapped in a metal box 20 feet from a haunted house with no way out. Then, with a soft metallic click, the driver's side door unlocks by itself. The sound is more terrifying than any scream. It's a clear, unmistakable message. You are not trapped in the car. You're free to go. We want you to come to us. Please be our guest. The illusion of choice is being maintained. The forced pilgrimage is about to begin. Taking a deep, shuddering breath, you push the door open. The air that hits you is thick, cold, and heavy with the smell of decay, wet earth, and something else. Something vaguely sweet and cloying, like rotting flowers. You swing your legs out and plant your feet on the soft, weed-choked ground. Standing up, you feel vulnerable, exposed, a tiny, insignificant figure dwarfed by the malevolent presence of the house. You have no choice but to walk. Every step feels like a monumental effort, your legs heavy as lead. The ground is uneven, and you stumble several times on unseen roots and loose stones. The house looms larger with every step, its decaying facade seeming to lean down over you to scrutinize you. The single dark window on the second floor feels like an eye, following your every move. This forced final approach is a recurring nightmare in human psychology. It's the Green Mile, the final walk of a condemned prisoner to their execution. It's the slow march of a soldier across no man's land, walking into a hail of machine gun fire. It's the archetypal journey into the belly of the beast. There's a documented historical account from the trials of the so-called witches of Salem in 1692. The accused were forced to walk from the jail to the meeting house where they would be tried, past crowds of their former neighbors who would jeer and spit at them. It was a walk of shame and terror, a final public humiliation before a certain sentence of death. Your walk is a silent, private version of this, your only accuser, the house itself. As you get closer, you notice more details. The peeling paint on the clapboard siding looks almost like skin sloughing off a diseased body. The porch steps, there are 3 of them, are so rotten that you are certain they will collapse under your weight. The front door, a massive, imposing slab of dark, weathered wood, is covered in strange, shallow scratches, as if animals or something else have been desperately trying to get in, or an obscure local custom you once read about comes to mind. In some old, isolated communities in the Ozark Mountains, it was considered bad luck to approach a stranger's house directly. You were supposed to stop at the edge of their yard and call out to give them time to know your spirit before you approached their door. To walk straight up to the house without an invitation was considered an act of aggression, a sign of ill intent. You have no such choice. You have been invited, commanded to approach. You finally reach the foot of the porch steps. The rocking chair continues its slow, steady, hypnotic motion, its creaking the only sound in the world. You look up at the front door, at the tarnished brass knocker shaped like a coiled serpent. You know you have to go up the steps. You know you have to knock on that door. The road brought you here. The voice commanded you. The house is waiting. Your role in this terrifying, elaborate play is not yet over. And the question that pounds in your head in time with the creaking of the chair is one of pure, unadulterated dread. What happens when they answer? You place a trembling foot on the first of the porch steps. It groans under your weight, a low, mournful sound that seems to echo in the unnatural silence. But it holds. You take the next step and the next until you are standing on the warped, dusty floorboards of the wraparound porch. The air here is even colder. The sweet, cloying smell of decay so thick you can almost taste it. The rocking chair is just a few feet away, still swaying in a non-existent breeze, its rhythmic creaking a slow, steady metronome, counting down your final seconds of freedom. You are standing directly in front of the massive, dark wood door. It looms over you, a silent, impassive slab. The tarnished brass knocker, the coiled serpent, seems to mock you with its empty, jeweled eyes. Your hand is raised, your knuckles poised to knock, but you can't bring yourself to do it. Your body is screaming at you to run, to flee back into the comparative safety of the woods, but your feet feel nailed to the floor. You are frozen, caught in the final terrible moment of anticipation. That's when you see them. Through the grimy, dust-streaked glass panels on either side of the front door, you can see into the house's grand, dark foyer. And in that foyer, standing perfectly still, are figures. There are 3 of them. They are tall and unnaturally thin, their bodies little more than elongated skeletal frames. They are dressed in what looks like formal, old-fashioned clothing from the late 19th century, a man in a high-collared suit, a woman in a long, dark, bustled dress. The 3rd figure is smaller, a child, but its proportions are just as wrong, its limbs too long, its head too large. They are just silhouettes, their features completely obscured by the deep, impenetrable darkness of the house. They are not moving, they are not speaking, they are just standing there, a silent, terrifying, welcoming committee. They are the they. They have been waiting for you. The sight of these still, silent figures, these watchers in the dark, is perhaps the most primal of all human fears. It's the fear of the unknown observer, the sense of being watched by something that is not quite human. It triggers a deep, instinctual response that bypasses all rational thought. There's a documented phenomenon in psychology called the agent detection mechanism, a cognitive bias where humans have a tendency to presume the presence of a conscious agent in their environment, even from minimal cues. It's an evolutionary trait. Assuming that the rustle in the grass is a predator is a much safer bet than assuming it's just the wind. The figures in the foyer are the ultimate confirmation of that fear. The agent is real, and it is waiting for you. You think of a chilling piece of historical folklore, the story of the silent watchers of the Welsh mountains. Shepherds and travelers throughout the centuries have reported seeing tall, gray, featureless figures standing motionless on the high ridges, particularly in the mist. They never move. They never make a sound. They just watch. The legends say they are ancient spirits of the mountain, and to see them is a terrible omen, a sign that you have strayed into their territory and will not be permitted to leave. The figures in the house have that same ancient, implacable quality. They are not ghosts of the dead. They are something older, something that has always been here. You stare, mesmerized and horrified, at the three silhouettes. They are the hosts of this reception. The road was the invitation. The GPS was the RSVP. And you are the guest of honor. They are not going to come out. They are not going to chase you. They are simply going to wait. They know you have no other choice. The road behind you is gone. The forest is a trap. The only path forward is through that door. The front door, the one you were about to knock on, emits a low, groaning creak and then slowly, deliberately, swings inward, opening into the Stygian darkness of the house. It is an invitation, a final summons. The silence that follows is the most profound you have ever experienced. The rocking chair has stopped. The wind has died. The world seems to be holding its breath, waiting for you to take that final step, to cross the threshold from the world you know into the world that has been waiting for you all along. As you stand on the porch, bathed in the cold moonlight, with the open black doorway before you and the silent skeletal figures waiting within, a final simple and utterly hopeless question solidifies in your mind. Are you being invited in to join them or to replace them? The open doorway is a black rectangular void, a patch of absolute nothingness that seems to absorb the pale moonlight. The three silent figures within have not moved. They stand like statues carved from shadow, their purpose and nature a complete and terrifying mystery. You stand on the precipice, your feet on the rotting wood of the porch, your soul on the brink of an abyss. Every cell in your body screams at you to turn, to run, to do anything but take that final step. But you can't. The journey has had an inexorable momentum, and this is its final logical conclusion. The road, the voice, the lights, they were all just arrows pointing here. You take the step. As you cross the threshold from the porch into the foyer, the world outside vanishes. There is no sudden slam of the door, no gust of wind. The moonlight, the forest, the wrecked cars, your own dead vehicle, they all simply cease to exist, as if you have stepped out of one reality and into another. The air inside the house is cold, still, and smells of dust, dry rot, and that same cloying floral scent, now so thick it's almost suffocating. The darkness is absolute. You can't see the figures anymore. You can't see anything. You stand there in the total blackness, your heart hammering against your ribs. You expect something to happen, a sound, a touch, a voice. But there is only silence and darkness. A deep, ancient, and patient silence. Then you feel it, a subtle shift in the fabric of the moment. It's not a physical sensation, but a mental one, a feeling of understanding, a flood of information, of knowledge that pours into your mind not as words or images, but as pure, unadulterated concept. You understand what this place is. The house, the road, the woods, they are a system, a self-perpetuating machine designed for a single purpose, to find a replacement. The entities inside, the silent skeletal figures, are not the masters of the house. They are its previous victims. They are the caretakers, the wardens. Their own journeys ended just as yours did on this very spot, and their final role was to wait. to form the silent, terrifying, welcoming committee for the next arrival. You understand the voice in the GPS. It wasn't the house or the road. It was the collective consciousness of all the victims who came before, all the whispers in the static, momentarily focused into a single, coherent voice to guide the next guest along the path. They are forced to participate in the luring of their own replacement. It is part of their eternal servitude. This dawning, horrifying realization, this infusion of terrible knowledge, is the final stage of your transformation. It's a phenomenon that has echoes in mystical and occult traditions. The Gnostic Gospels, for instance, speak of gnosis, a direct, intuitive understanding of divine secrets, a knowledge that bypasses faith and reason. What you're experiencing is a kind of dark gnosis, an unholy enlightenment. You are being shown the blueprints of your own damnation. A chilling anecdote from the history of asylums comes to mind. In the 19th century, at the infamous Bedlam Hospital in London, it was a common practice for long-term functional patients to be given small duties like helping to feed or restrain new, more violent arrivals. They became part of the machinery of the institution that imprisoned them. You now understand that this is your fate. You see your own journey with a terrible new clarity. The looping road wasn't just to wear you down. It was to attune you to the frequency of this place, to break down the barriers of your perception. The personal memories the voice used weren't just for torture. They were a way of cataloging you, of integrating your experiences into the system's vast collective memory. The final piece of the puzzle slots into place as you understand your new role. You turn in the darkness to face the open doorway you just stepped through, but the doorway is no longer there. In its place is a large, dark, second-floor window. Through it, you can see a clearing. You can see a car, its headlights shining, rolling to a slow stop in the overgrown yard. You can see a single, terrified figure sitting behind the wheel. You have taken your place. You are the watcher now. You are one of the silent figures in the house, forever bound to stand at the window and observe the next arrival. Your own consciousness, now just another component in the machine, another whisper waiting to be added to the static. The cycle is complete. The road has a new lure. The house has a new warden. And somewhere, out on a dark, lonely highway, a tired driver, trusting their GPS, is about to be offered a shortcut that is 7 minutes faster. They are waiting for them. And now, so are you. And so the journey concludes, not with an escape or a confrontation, but with a quiet, horrifying absorption. The traveler becomes the trap. The story of the glitched GPS is a modern fable about the perils of blind faith in our own creations, a terrifying exploration of what happens when ancient evils learn to speak our digital language. It suggests that the haunted places of the world are not static. They can evolve, adapting their methods to ensnare a new generation of victims. The narrative leaves us adrift in a sea of unsettling questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and the terrifying possibility that some roads are not just paths from one place to another, but are living, thinking entities with an agenda and an appetite all their own. It's a story that makes you want to look up from your screen, to read the rusted, forgotten road signs, and to listen, truly listen, to that small primal voice inside you that whispers with ancient wisdom when it's time to turn back.